something else. I'm not sure how it's doing at the box office. Dark Waters. How is that doing right now?
Dark Waters is doing, I think, around the same.
That's what I
Dark,
figured.
yeah, Dark Waters is interesting because this is actually the first Todd Haynes movie that's any kind of studio release. Todd Haynes, of course, is famous for kind of coming up in that new independent cinema wave in the late 80s, early 90s, alongside like Soderbergh, of course, and also Gus Van Sant. But while Soderbergh, of course, got a little more mainstream, of course, made Ocean's trilogy and all that. Um, Todd Haynes really kind of stuck to the beat of his own drum. He's a filmmaker that I was not really familiar with for a long time, just because he didn't make anything mainstream. But as you look back, you realize he's definitely a figure of like queer cinema. Movies like Poison, and of course Carol, which came out in 2015. You'll see that on lots of best of decade lists this month. Definitely a widely celebrated film with Rooney Mara and Kate Blanchett. And he had Wonderstruck come out for Amazon in 2017, but now he's back with Dark Waters, which is funny because I've seen a lot of people that are more familiar with his filmography describe it as the least Todd Haynes movie he's ever made because, again, it's out with focus more, but it's a legal drama. It's not it's a much more straightforward movie than from what I've gathered the rest of his filmography is. But I like Dark Waters a lot because I think it's just an incredibly effective story. And for those of you, it's not going to really spoil it, but it is history. It's based off this Nathaniel Rich 2016 New York Times Magazine article. And it's about this lawyer, Robert Belote, played by Mark Ruffalo, who basically just went to town in court against DuPont, the chemical company. Of course, Jeff Gordon car, everyone knows the logo. And just took all these suits over like 15 years against DuPont for poisoning the local community in Parkersburg, West Virginia, and subsequently poisoning basically the whole country through the use of PFOAs, this kind of synthetic chemical that is in Teflon or was in Teflon. And, Ruffalo, of course, is the lead. He's in just about every scene. He's quite good in it. It's he gets to say a bunch of they news
I was
about
gonna
DuPont.
ask. Oh,
This
man.
is in the they knew genre. This is not to the high levels of Spotlight. Spotlight definitely is much bigger and grander than this. But
Mhm.
I think Dark Waters, if you like that kind of stuff from Ruffalo, this is it. Like, they knew and they did nothing. Like this is it. Like he literally says they knew twice in the movie, and I was like,
No.
this is exactly what I wanted though, because the rest of the movie is so smart and I think tons so strong that you can get something so meta in there, And I wonder if Todd Haynes is like acknowledge that. I haven't been able to find any acknowledgement of it, but along the way you have Anne Hathaway who plays the wife figure. Where and I think what's smart about Dark Waters is that as Ruffalo's character is getting consumed by this case that is taking years and years, we're seeing the effect it has on his family and how he's really just focused solely on the case and little else. And Hathaway is kind of representing that. Still kind of an underwritten part, but Anne Hathaway's quite good, so she can, I think, elevate that. Tim Robbins plays his boss at his firm, and then we have Victor Garber, who plays the executive head of DuPont, and then Bill Camp, who's awesome in this, plays the farmer who kind of brings the case to Ruffalo in the first place when his cows are dying from like tumors and shit from the chemicals. And ultimately, I think what makes the movie so good is like you can kind of, if you look up the story, you can kind of guess how it'll be told, right? But Dark Water does such a good job of making your blood boil and also just hammering home the corporate indifference that we've unfortunately come to expect here in our country, and negligence when it comes to the environment and stuff like that. And it's really just a really sobering story and really unfortunate stuff. But as far as legal drama goes, I think it's really good. So yeah, Dark Waters. If that's something you're into, I'd recommend it. Or if you're just interested in the story, I'd say go on Wikipedia and then be really mad. But it's good stuff.
They knew. Man, that's great. Ruffalo just being ridiculous is always fantastic.